And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can find, no. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Julie, I just want to check with you. Are you able to see the slide?
Yes, I can see the slide.
Okay. So this is the Build a Learning Module webinar, and this is one of the required webinars for the Teaching Online Courses program. And again, I had previously introduced myself and Julie. We're the instructional designers on the Armstrong campus. And basically the main purpose of this is to learn how to build and organize a learning module inside Folio. And again, the goal is to develop a learning module to allow you to organize instructional events for students. Okay. And then these are the learning objectives. We'll go through each one at a time. And please, again, ask any questions that you have. You can stop us, and we'll try and answer as you go through it. If you're not familiar with Folio itself, there might be some questions that we'll be able to help you with. Okay, so again, the first objective that we're going to talk about is to upload the Folio course template to a sandbox course. And I think Julie had already typed in the chat box, we've created a sandbox course for everyone. And that sandbox course, if you're not familiar, is basically just a blank, empty shell of a course that allows you to practice. You can actually, while we're working on this webinar, you can actually follow along, or you can choose to work on it afterwards. But let me actually, we'll go through that process in just a minute. But we're going to be importing and exporting course components, renaming a learning module, setting the learning module, whether it's hidden or visible. There's a student view of the course, which allows you to see what your students are seeing as opposed to what you as the instructor. We're going to be creating links to discussions, assignments, and quizzes. We're going to be adding documents, various, either a PDF, a Word document, or a Google Doc. Editing course content pages. Creating and adding a new template page, deleting the learning module. So this seems like a lot, but again, it's fairly straightforward and basic. So again, if you have any questions, please stop and put your question in the chat feature area. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to my sandbox course again, which I initially mentioned. If you want to find your sandbox course, if you're unfamiliar with it, up here, there's a little grid icon. If you select that, and if you put your first and last name in, like I'm doing here, and click Sandbox, and you click the magnifying lens, that will show you your course, okay? And you could choose to click the link there, but I would recommend there's this little push pin. If you click that so that it's dark, that will put your sandbox course or any of the courses that you are going to work on, either now or in the future, we'll put it on your home page of Folio. Okay, so if you want to go ahead if you want to search for your sandbox. Go right ahead now. We'll go ahead. We'll take just a minute or so just to work through that. Right now, this is just the sandbox for this webinar. Okay. So as in the first learning objective, we're going to now upload the Folio template into a sandbox course, okay? And as you can see, this sandbox basically is an empty course. There's no content in it. Basically, it's just a shell. And in order to upload the Folio template, you want to go to the Center for Teaching Excellence, the website, okay? And I don't know, Julie, can you post that link in the chat area? And
yes, I just added it.
Okay. And when you get to the CTE website, all you have to do is scroll a little bit. We just updated our website, so we changed the order of this. But there's this link here, Folio template, which is what we want to select. Okay. And this page gives a brief introduction. It'll tell you what the template helps to do. The main thing that I think that's important is that it will help keep your course be compliant with federal web accessibility guidelines. Also, it provides the Georgia Southern branding, okay, which I'll show you once we put the template in. But these are really the really good reasons for using a template. Again, it's not required that you use a template, but again, we strongly recommend and suggest that. And again, if you follow along, you're going to do this afterwards. Here's an instruction set of how to actually work with a template. But I'm going to go ahead and click this button here to download the Folio template. And I get this little pop-up, and I want to save this file. And I'm going to click OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to download a zip file to my downloads folder, or to web, which is usually the default folder. And if I open my my downloads folder, which is pretty filled, I'm going to look for the, let's see, oh, here it is, Folio template, okay. And you'll see it's a zip folder. You don't do anything with this. You just want to make sure that you have it downloaded to your computer. Now, once it's downloaded, now I'm going to go back to my course, my sandbox course, and up at the top, you see this menu bar. I'm going to click the third option here, which is Edit Course. And there's a lot of different links here, but the one we're going to focus on is this Import, Export, Copy Components. Okay, and then it takes us to another page. Okay. Now we want to, the default is to copy components from another org unit. This option is very useful for if you've built a course and for, say, a spring term, and you want to copy it into a summer term or a fall. This allows you just to take take whatever you've completed, and it just moves everything over, or copies it over into the course that you want to use, and then you can update it as needed. Okay, but it is a very useful thing. But we're going to focus on this Import Components option that I'm going to click. I'm going to click Start, and it wants me to now find the course. I can choose either upload, which I'm going to do, or if you have access, you can actually drag and drop it into this box. But I'm going to click upload, and I'm going to go to my downloads folder and look for the Folio template. Okay, so I'm going to select that, click open. Okay, and so there you can see the Folio template zip file. I'm going to select import all components, and it's in the process of uploading and converting and importing, and you'll get a message when it's all done.
Hey, Stephen. I just wanted to add that if you're not following along importing your template, that's okay. You can just watch this webinar as a demonstration, and then when you get to the point where you want to upload the template into your course, then you can either follow the instructions that Stephen shared, or we'll be glad to assist you. Our expectation isn't for you to keep up with everything that Stephen is doing.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's still importing. There we go. Okay, so I got a message. It's been successfully imported. And I'm going to select View Content. And that will bring me into the course again. And now what you can see is, instead of basically a blank course, you're going to see all these preset modules, templates for a module, that can be very useful for you in building your course. Now let's just take a look at, here's module 1, and we have a pre-built introduction page. And if I click on that link, basically it shows this is content, particularly in blue here is instructions on what you could possibly use it for. It's meant to be removed when you add your own content. It has a section for putting your learning modules in for this module, a task list. There's a whole, again, another page that's built in. There's a study guide page if you use those. And again, all of these pages are meant to help you. You may choose not to use every single one of them, okay, but it's created there for your use to help you. This is a lecture page, okay, and again gives some instructions of what you might want to use it for. You know, I mean, it's fairly obvious on either text or images. Here's a page for if you use a discussion forum in your course. This is a page to include instructions for the discussion forum. This isn't the actual discussion itself, but it's just an instruction page. And again, there's one for an assignment, you know, an instruction set for assignments. And if I go back to the table of contents from, if you could see this breadcrumb trail, the table of contents, this has created this template has 16 modules. So it's really, there's enough for you for building out a full course, dependent on what your, how many modules you're going to have in a course. Okay, and again, we'll talk about changing the names of these very shortly. Okay, in fact, that's the next step. But again, before we do that, I want to show you there's also a course orientation module. And again, this is a template pages, again, for a course introduction. You can include course goals. And there's a welcome page if you want to put in a welcome page, either text. Some faculty actually create a little video of themselves and put that in for their welcome for the course to students. And a study guide, a course study guide. And again, you may choose not to use all of these. This is a built-in syllabus that you may choose to add to your course. Many faculty choose to just upload either a Word document or a PDF, but this allows another option. You want to, if you want to create, your syllabus on an HTML page, which is what this is. It's a web page that will stay in place. And then there's here's a template for a course schedule, and a course structure to just tell students what to expect, how your course is built, either by modules or by weeks or whatever. This is a nice video to describe how to navigate Folio that's already pre-built in. So you may choose to keep this in place, modify the rest of the content. And again, you have communication policies. So again, this you might have in your syllabus, but it's also included here, along with netiquette, confidentiality, and FERPA policies. But here you could put in how you want students to communicate with yourself. And these, I think, they're the next few pages are really important that I would keep in, because it has pages based on campus technology, software. This has information about each of the tools that could possibly be used, that are built with, that you can use within Folio. It has an accessibility compliance links. It has support. Again, this is helpful for students. And again, it has privacy links, for each of these tools. So again, that's something that's valuable. Again, this is for an academic research page, which would be helpful for you students, particularly if you want them, if they're going to be doing some research for any assignment. And I believe this is student support page. Again, another one that I think is important that you'd want to keep in. Academic support, library, student support services. And is there one more? Introduction. Again, this is just if you're, there's a pre-built discussion for introductions, so you can modify this if you want to continue using that introduction page. And then we go into the different modules. Okay, so
Stephen, hey, if it's okay, can we just take a pause, and then if anyone has a question or comment, you can either type it in the chat area or turn on your microphone.
Why don't we do that? That's fine. Any question?
Let me see, there is a question. Can you add and delete things to the modules, like a quiz on the orientation section? That was one of the questions.
You can definitely add, and we're going to cover that down in a little bit, about adding links to quizzes, assignments, discussions. You can add it within a module. You could also add it to, if you're going to have a syllabus quiz, if you want it, you could add that to the orientation module, following either your uploaded syllabus or the syllabus page. So yes, but we'll show you how to do that. That's one of the learning objectives of this course. Okay. So the next thing is to basically how to modify or change the names of these. I'm going to go ahead and click on module 1 here. You may not actually, how you build your course, you may go by modules, you may go by weeks. So you may want to say this is week 1 and maybe give it a title, or you could say keep it as a module. But if you click on the link in the content, the table of contents, and up here, if I click on that itself, it opens it up for me to actually change the module name. So I'm going to just call this now week 1 beginning, I don't know, beginning of the week. So you can change this to whatever, if it's a, however you can just give it, however you want to title it. This is, again, makes it very easy for you to, change, again, the module names. And again, for the same thing, you could also change the names of each of these pages. So again, if you want to change this introduction page, here you go, edit title. So you can, again, make a change in whatever you want to call it, week 1 introduction. I'm not typing too well this morning. So again, that's a way you can change the title of all of these modules and all of these pages, okay, to whatever is suited for how you build your course, okay. Another feature of Folio is to make your pages or your modules hidden or visible for students to see. And right now you can see this little, it's a little tiny eye, and you could see as I scroll over it, it says visible. I don't know if I make this, if I can make that a little bit bigger. If I click on it, you could see that this is now visible. I may choose to turn it off and make it hidden. And this means it's hidden from student view. Okay, so your students, so if you're in the process of, say, building something that you don't want students to have access to or see, then you can hide it. And that goes for, this is now for this entire module. Okay. You can do the same thing for an individual page. If I open up a page and it's in a different position down at the bottom, but you can see this is visible. If I click it, it's now hidden. So this gives you the option of allowing you to create content and not be worried about students seeing anything while you're building it. But if you hide it, you have to remember to turn it back on, okay? And one way, if you want to be certain of what you're seeing, of what you've hidden is available to students or not, let me go back to, I'm going to hide this. Okay, and this is a nice feature. At the very top where your name is, if I click there on my name, there's an option called View as a Student. So if I click that, then everything that, and you can see how this changes up here. It says Stephen Huffsmith as a student. If I go to the content now, I hid module 1, and you can see now it's missing from the content area. Okay, so this goes for a full module. You could do it for individual pages. You could do it for a quiz, an assignment, or whatever. So it's a nice feature to get back out of being a student, you have to just click on the name and then select down, and now I'm back in the instructor mode, okay? So we covered basically how, hiding and the student view of the course. Let me bring this down. So is there any questions before we move on related to that?
One question. How will you create module with mathematical equations, schematics, and model/illustrations?
That's a very good question. There is, and if I go to, let's open up a module. Let me go to content. Folio does have the ability to use mathematical. Let me go to a lecture page here. And when you go to actually add your own content on the lecture page, there's this feature you have to edit HTML. HTML is just the coding for what's behind on a web page. Okay, you don't need to know coding. You don't need to know that because you have basically a word processing feature right here. But when I click the edit HTML, basically you could see now you have this kind of word processing toolbar. There's more down here when I click the little dots. And right here, this has, for mathematical equations, graphical chemistry, math, or latex equations. So it does give you, Folio does give you that option of using this tool for mathematical equations. I think, Julie, was there something about images or related to that?
We do have some other options that we can share with you. It's 10:31 now,
Yeah.
Stephen. I suggest that you move forward, and I'll make a notation of this.
So let's talk about creating links within the learning module. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cancel out of here. And that was one of the questions. If I go to, okay, now one of the features, again, of the template is that it creates template assignments here. And these are basically blank assignments that you can use and modify. So I'm going to actually create a link to a module. So say this module 1 assignment, if I go to up here, add existing activities, and you could see all these potential options here. There's a comment for an option for Dropbox, and I'm going to select assignment. So now that assignment has now been, it's linked within the actual module itself. And this is a kind of what both Julie and I like to consider as a best practice, is to put these assessments in line inside a module. Students always have the ability to go up and use the main toolbar up here under assessment, Dropbox, and then they have to find what they're looking for. But if you put it inside the module, that's a really nice feature, and it keeps students from having to search for it. The same thing for a discussion. So if I went under add existing activities, discussions, again, these are template discussions. They're basically blank or empty. But if I want to link discussion 1, if you're going to use that, and you can move this, there's these little dots. I'm going to move it up to the discussion area behind the discussion instructions. Oh, it didn't move. There we go. Okay. So now when a student is moving through your module, they read your instructions, they click the next link, and they're in the discussion area, discussion itself. And the same thing for assignments. They click the link, and there's the assignment. Okay. So this is a real, and again, if you're building, here's your visible, making it hidden, or making it visible from the previous objective. And you can do the same thing for what Folio does not create are blank quizzes. So it's a blank area that you can actually, that you need to create a new quiz, okay? So just want to make sure if there's any questions for that. Otherwise, we'll move forward with adding documents to a learning module. And so say, if you haven't, say if you're, let's go to the course orientation and you want to add your syllabus that you have, if as a Word document or a PDF. If you go under new, there's a, because it's not in the course yet, you want to upload files, and then you check, you go to your computer, upload, and I don't know if I have anything. Let's just do this, Bloom's taxonomy notes. So say this is your syllabus, you click add, and whatever you add puts it down at the bottom, but you can always move it to wherever you want to go, wherever you want it to go. Oops. Okay. So that, and then you can do the same in a module. Say you want to add a document or a PDF. If you have a PowerPoint PDF and you want to add that into your module, you would do the same thing. You would just go under new, upload file, okay? And you would place it within the module, you know, that you're looking for. So you could do that for a PDF, a Word document. You could also do it for a Google Doc, you know, if you have within within your course, okay? So we're going to now create and edit content pages. So again, I showed you with editing, it's very, very simple. I'm going to click Edit HTML. And what I like to tell people is, again, this is content that you would remove. You could type in your entire course, your entire content, but I think the easiest way is that you might work in using a Word document, okay? And let me see if I could find the document that I wanted to. Let's see. Okay, well, let's just use this Word document. That doesn't have any text there. Nope. Oh, here we go. This is what I wanted to, what I was looking for. Okay, let me move it over. So this is just some text I found on the web. It's the Gettysburg Address. Okay, so say you typed your content. What you want to do is select the content. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to go back to my course. And instead of typing, I'm going to paste the content into there. And you're going to get a little window that says either to remove formatting or to keep formatting. You always want to select the first option to remove formatting. Windows, Word has formatting options that you don't want to keep. And by removing formatting, it helps to keep the text using the text that is built into the Folio template. And this is a specific font that is useful for readability and much easier to read. If I kept formatting, you'll see that it kept it in the Times New Roman. It's a lot harder to if I select save and close, you're going to see that it's much easier to read the content when you're using the font which is enabled within the Folio template itself. So that's would be the recommendation, okay, to do that. So again, you can type in your content, but we would recommend that you actually copy and paste in the content, okay? Let's see, so we're going to creating links so if you want to create a link, so just as we created a direct link within a module for an assignment and a discussion, you could also do it on a page itself. So say if we went to say this discussion instructions page, and I'm going to select edit HTML, and this is one of the other options. So I'm going to type in discussion 1, okay, and I'm going to select that, and then this little link here, it's a what's called a quick link. If I click that, and there's an option for discussions, module discussions, discussion 1, and now you can see it's actually become a link. I'm going to select save and close, and now, so say if you put your instructions for the discussion there, students can then click this link, and then it'll open the discussion. So that's another way you could do the direct link within the module, or you can put a quick link on a page itself. Again, you can do this for an assignment, a discussion, a quiz, okay, any kind of assessment, that's okay. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to keep moving because I'm going to select HTML, and another feature is adding videos or video or audio, okay? So let's do that on a lecture page. Let's go to lecture 2, and I'm going to select edit HTML, and I'm going to put my cursor in the spot where I want to say the video to take place. Let me remove that. Okay, and right here under this very first link icon, it's called Insert Stuff, and there's a whole different bunch of offerings. Now, enter embed code. What this is, if you want to, you could, if you have a YouTube video that you want to insert into the course, let me go to YouTube and find a video. And let's see. Okay. And let's see if you can find my videos, library. Okay, let's just find this video right here. Okay. Okay, so you found your YouTube video that you want to use. Under this share option, if I click that, there's this embed code. If you choose, you could always just click the link and then you can put the link to the video itself, but we want to embed the video in place. Embed, And then this is all the code here. I'm going to copy the code by clicking that link. And then I'm going to paste it in and say next. And I'm going to insert it. And this puts your video directly on your page for students to see, instead of having them click a link to go out. Okay. You could also use this, and we actually have a webinar on this, is using Kaltura, which is a built-in software within Folio that you can create your own videos. Again, under insert link, insert stuff. There's this add Kaltura media. And now this will take me to my library of videos that I've created. And I'm going to select this one, select embed. So say if you did an introductory video of yourself for your students, and you wanted to put that in the course, insert. So here you have a Kaltura video, which is built within inside the actual module itself. Okay. You can also add images. There's this little camera icon. So say if you wanted to upload an image, you just find, I don't think I have any images. This is just a blank frame. But if this was an image, you can add. And one of the things for those who are taking the TOC now, or who have taken it, we've talked about alternative text, which is important for making your video, your images accessible. It's just basically a short description of what's in the video, of what's in the image. So this is really, you could put whatever it is, image of black frame. You know, that's what, but that's important to put in place. And again, it put this, so whatever your image is, and then you want to select save and close, and that puts everything that you want to in place. Okay, so we did one of the things though that I didn't mention about a YouTube video is that it's important to put try to put the copyright on underneath or somewhere near the video, so that if I do,
Steve, I included that in the comments.
Okay, very good. Okay, so you'd want to put it underneath, just to say something that this came from YouTube, maybe the year. Most YouTube videos, if they're shareable, you should have no problems with it, you know, but it's still a good idea to give some idea of where the video, you know, came from. And you could also supply the direct link underneath too of the video. So so that would be helpful. Okay, the next is adding a new template page. So now let's go back to table of contents. So we've only, in these modules, I've only created one lecture page. You may want a second lecture page or more, depending on. So what I'm going to do is add a new lecture page, go under new, and create a file. Now, I'm going to browse the template. This is from the template, and this is what's valuable if you've actually used the template. If you browse the template under course offering files, okay, template pages. And again, if you have any questions about doing this, you know, please let us know. You know, we can help you with it. But these are all template pages. Here's a new lecture page. I'm going to select add, but I want to change the name. So this is a lecture 1 continued, or whatever title that you want to give it. Okay, and then you can change the name here. Let's just, I'm going to save and close. So now you have this new lecture page that you can use, and again, I'm going to move it to where I want it to go. So you can add pages as you needed. You could add new study guide pages and whatever from the template. Okay.
Hey, Stephen, there's a
Yep.
question.
Yes.
So are the pages are not the same as the submodules?
No, submodules are, this is a module, and these are pages within a module. If you want to organize it as a submodule, you could say, if you want, and this might be a way for organizing your content, but say if you wanted to, if you had a bunch of PowerPoints for this one module, you could put PowerPoint slides. So I've now created a submodule, and here now I can add, my PowerPoint slides all organized into one submodule. So a submodule is a way of kind of helping you to organize your content a little bit. You could add pages inside here. So say if a submodule, if you wanted a lecture page in the submodule, you can choose to do, I don't want to upload, I want to create a file. Okay, and then I would do the same thing, go to the browse the template. Okay, so that's what you would potentially use a submodule for organizing your content a little bit, so that it's not all one long string of pages, or especially if you have a bunch of information like PDFs or whatever, you could load that in your into the module. Okay. The next, we're almost at near the end, and we're getting close to the, is to talk about different ways, two different ways for communicating with your students. And one, which I recommend, is using the news item feature. And you can see these are the standard news items that have been brought in from the template, but you can create your own. You can go to the new news item, and this might be an introduction. This could be where you put your course introduction if it's a video. Okay, and then you can either put text in. You have the same word processing features by adding a video, an image. You can type things in. You can choose when this is going to be shown. So say if you want to pre-make ahead of time an announcement, and then set it to appear on a certain date at a certain time, you could choose to have it end if you want to. You could add a file. This is a recording a video using your webcam. It's not the same as using Kaltura. And I think that's probably an easier way to do that. But when you're ready, you just click publish. It just says it can't be empty. Test. News item. And I click publish. And if I click, nope, I want to click the main link here. And it put, since I didn't give it it put the actual date today and the time. So this is one way of communicating with your students. You can put announcements in here if you want students to. So that's one way of communicating with your students. The other is creating calendar events. Okay, and again, here's your calendar. There's currently no events, but you can choose to go to the calendar and this is actually all calendars for all the courses. So this is not really helpful, you can choose, I think if you want to create an event, and this will now put it in this course. And this might be, if you want to create a calendar event saying, maybe your initial post for a discussion is due at is due today. You can do that. Okay, so if you have an assignment under a Dropbox assignment, you can actually once you create a date and time for it, this will show up in the calendar. Okay, so your assignments and quizzes and discussions will show up, but you can add your own through the calendar feature. Okay, and the very last thing is to talk about how to activate your course content. Now, as faculty, under the My Georgia Southern portal, you have the option of activating a course right in your Folio section right here. Okay, as staff, we don't have that, so I don't have the ability to show that. But there's also a way within the course itself. If I click under Edit Course and Course Offering Information, right now this course is set to be active, but you can choose it. If you deselect it and save it, it means that students will not be able to access the course. So it's one way. Or if students, I've heard where faculty have called and said, gee, students can't see a course because it hasn't been made active yet. So you want to make sure that you click the box and select save, and that gives the students access to the course itself. Okay, and that's a lot of content that we went through. Okay, are there any questions about anything that we covered, right now?
Steve, I'm going to put the link to the badges. Do you want to show that slide
yes.
on the badges?
Yes, my fault. Let me go to here we go. Okay. Oops. 1, 2, 4. So this course is part of the badges program that the CT has. It's one of in the technology track, teaching with technology. If you take 4 workshops in a track, for each course, you would submit an action plan, and it's fairly simple to fill out. There's a link in our on the CT website that will take you to a form that you could fill out, and then once you've actually done all 4 in a certain track, you would submit a capstone and reflection. And this is the link here that you can submit your capstone, reflection. But there's, let me see if I could find, let's see, go back to teaching online, badges. There's actually a link for badges. Okay, so here's a link for the action plan, and again for the capstone reflection. This shows the 3 different tracks that are available, evidence-based teaching, teaching with technology, and professional planning and growth. So there's a lot more information here on the CT website for the badges. Okay. Anything else? Any questions? Again, I'm going to close the, stop the recording.